Alright, so just checking the wiring for a HEI conversion. This is my 88 ramcharger, 5.9 liter mod quad on top. Everything's all federal. I'll try to include pictures individually so that they're not so blurry. Anyways, I went and purchased the HEI unit following some of the stuff suggested on the forums at Ramcharger Central. So the white wires right here, these are just a jumper for the start run relay. Same with this push start, just for while I was timing it, doing it myself. Initially I was having some issues with the ballast resistor going out, and my my ignition coil was seeing its day. That guy's over here just chilling out now. Nobody in town apparently tests coils anymore, so I wound up only being able to do resistance tests on it and determined it was not within the specified range. So I went and purchased the HEI unit. I bypassed the ballast resistor by taking the master ignition. The blue wire that once fed it was into the bottom of my ballast at one point. Trying to get a good view for you guys. And then this pink wire was what came out of the top. Just for clarity, this blue is what was my master ignition. It goes into the switch inside and then comes back out, providing just shy of the full 12 volts. My battery usually averages 12.5 when it's sitting, and I get at least 11 3/4 back. Anyways, so I bypass the ballast, connect to the blue to the pink. This comes on over here to my start run relay. Ballast is labeled, power's labeled, blah blah blah. And then I took the original wire that would go to the coil's positive terminal. That's the other pink guy back here tucked underneath. He just goes around behind everything onto the module itself. He is spliced into the positive right here. Oop, I'm in the way. Again, nothing's like permanent. This is still just trial and error for connections. As far as I'm telling, I'm getting the correct signal and the correct currents. The new coil, well, alternatively new, is from an old Ford. I picked up a few at the junkyard for like $5 a pop, so they've got their own wire in the end of it. As you can see, I've got 3 going up to it. There's 2 yellow and 1 red being the negative, the yellows being the positive, so I just gave it its own independent hot down here. It's just wrapped up on the battery. Right now it's not firing, I assume due to a lack of a good coil. Again, $5 a pop at a junkyard just for mocking everything up. I ordered a new properly rated ignition coil. It'll be here within 4 or 5 days, and I'll go from there. Again, 88 ramcharger. The only reason I bothered with this HEI conversion was because I was noticing weak spark, be it the timing light or that light right there for the inline testing. Each light was noticeably dimmer than I would expect. Timing light, I had to hunch over the batteries just to reach the plate, or just to see the lines on the plate down there. And then that light was never more than a dull glowing orange. It never really actually lit up all the way. Back to the module real quick. So I've got my feeds in for my ignition, and then down here on the opposite side, the smaller terminal and the other one are my feeds for the Mopar Dizzy, still stock, dual points. I even noticed the spark after I gutted and rebuilt this bad boy. Had the shaft checked, no wobble, no nothing like that. Had to replace the points inside and the reluctor, and in the process of adjusting with the new points, I busted the arm off the vacuum advance. So all that's in there, all that's been double and quadruple and triple checked. After finding the HEI conversion was simpler and eliminating weak spark, I decided to go that route after timing it and getting it all set up. Run circuit is unhooked on the back of the distributor. It's pretty hard to see down there, so I can get you some light. So it's that wire just kind of dangling down. My run is now my primary. It's these 2 guys right here. Even still, with no firing, I'm not noticing the polarity changes for the positive and negative on this end for the magnetic pickup in the stock distributor. Anybody got any input on that, I'd be happy to hear it. as far as I can find from MSD or anyone else's suggestions, it's just swap them around and see which gives you the proper spark or less running issues. Just one more thing to add. So my condenser is mounted to my heatsink plate with my HEI module. From there, it gets its own ground that goes to the back of this bolt. This plate is also ground off in the back there where that bolt comes in, and then from there it's fed its own ground wire, this gnarly black guy, to the post on here on the battery. As you can see, it's not like it's very pretty over here. I'm kind of cleaning up after someone else's wiring mess over the years, trying to simplify stuff along the ways. Anything in plastic tubing is what I have narrowed down and eliminated problems in, long story short. The rest of the wiring harness is still to be determined or parts I'm working through. The dual batteries, again, on this simplifying point, are just for the sake of argument. I've got my stereo feed in another secondary box I pulled out of another late 80s Dodge that I stupidly simplified for constants for stereo, ignition, or not ignition, for lighters, lights, radio, amplifier, stupid things like that. So as time goes on, anything that isn't engine particularly related is just going to go onto this back battery right here, and then everything else for the engine will solely be off of this dual terminal RV marine battery. So again, just one more quick run through, guys. I don't believe I have anything mishooked. As far as I can tell, I'm not missing anything. I only have the 2-prong ballast. So originally it comes from my ignition switch in the console out to that blue wire, taped to the pink wire. The pink wire was off the ballast. Now they're joined. This comes to my start run relay, then back out to the positive terminal right here on the ignition coil, or HEI module, excuse me. I can't get words right this evening. From there, that feeds my positive on the ignition coil, and the ignition coil has its own independent positive that I'll hook up to a toggle. Connections, again, not finished, just crimped for the sake of circuits and mocking up. Still waiting on a few new parts. Condenser on the negative line to the hole that feeds through the body of the HEI module, ground independently to the back of the plate, and then the plate is grounded to the battery. Opposite side of the HEI module are the positive and negative for the distributor cap. These other wires running across top and then connected right there. Anybody notice anything I messed up? Let me know. Otherwise, I will update this video a little bit later in the week when I purchase that new ignition coil and try to fire it up again. Thanks.